and I
Not so
feel
much Koby.
yeah, I feel like Kobe is gonna kind of follow me a bit, but we will get some support for chat. I know that some of our Kobe stands are gonna be around, and I think this might be my 6 or 7 commentated game uh, with Kobe, so I'm hoping that I can at least infer what the plan's gonna be and what the best options are. So yeah, that's gonna be it today. Players seem to be all but ready. You're not very familiar with Kobe, but do you have a view of how
I
this matchup could go?
have so. I mean, green purple hates its board getting attacked, and I know Kobe has quite a few sneaky ways of attacking directly into the board. I
Yeah,
know if they catch out Sanji Pudding with Doll into a rush card, it could be very nasty early on.
yeah, that could be actually quite a good combo, though it does require quite a bit
Not from
of
hand.
setup. So I'm hoping that maybe we do see the 2K that I'm just blanking the name on Aramaki,
Yeah.
one coaster Aramaki set up for then doing the doll turn and being able to swing with anything else. That might be the trick. But we have like a lot of options for this, right? Hibari will be able to minus the Sanji pudding and then let leader attack into a character, making sure that we do get a decent swing into it. And then obviously once we reach the 6 Don and Helmepo setups, like even Big Kobe himself can swing very, very hard and diminish green purple Luffy resources. Which, yeah, it's going to be.
Which could be a problem for green purple if they don't see many counter cards early, which is very, very possible with that deck.
No. Do you think they run too many bricks until they get to Gum
Oh.
Giant? Nah, that can't be it.
Would I receive too much hate for saying it's a Gum Gum Giant reliant deck?
No, I think everyone's gonna be quite accustomed to us, like not quite berating, but complaining about Gum Giant and how much of an impact it has on, I guess, metagame and deck building. So yeah, no, you should be all right. Um,
Full Gum Gum Giant hate will be flowing today then.
mhm. That's fair and balanced, just like the card. All right, I think they're both done with their mulligans, and we're going to be able to see some starting gameplay. I feel like the first couple turns are going to be about the Kobe setup against the green purple filtering and finding pieces. Is taking a look at the deck list that if the audience hasn't done it quite yet, I do recommend it because they are somewhat spicy. We see some interesting choices on green purple. Any comments on that?
I mean, they are running the one-off Hody, which is always a very spicy pick. But they seem to be running a lot of tech card slots. Double Gamma Knife, double single Luna, the Hody Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I can't
Soros.
see. Yes, of course. I mean, the Luna could be very well placed in this matchup, but it is a one-off unsearchable card, so we can't be relying on that too much.
No, that's basically gonna come down to the heart of the cuts on it. But we do have some gameplay now, and we see searchers from both of our players
There's
finding
the
a peacock. Yeah, and a Sanji pudding. So now we know that that play is happening soon.
Not a question of if.
Just a question of when. Okay, peacock.
I didn't actually catch who chose the turn order in this game.
That's one of the main areas where I feel like we do need some improvement. I'm not entirely sure which one of them did it, although I would probably assume it would have been GP. I think. Kobe does thrive a bit more on the sixth on, like going second and being able to like push Almepos early on, right? So I'd
That
assume that
is
if Kobe
power
would have
card.
won, probably would have taken that away. And also for GP, right? Like the Sanji putting on sixth on plays are a lot more wild than the ones on 5. So
It certainly seems to be the case of GP wants to take second whenever they want to outvalue a matchup.
mm-hmm. It's just gonna be coming down to it. I'm not sure if out values specifically, the play here, but resources are gonna be king, so we do need a bit of that. It's kind of interesting because Kobe's a 4 life leader still, right? And he's very immune to removal options that normally decks run. So for most decks, it kind of comes down to a race, and you do need to pressure their life. But there's also a bit of a balance because they do have enough champ blockers that makes that quite complicated when you don't have access to our friend, our fishy friend.
Yeah, we'll have Kobe list is running 20 bricks, which
It's yeah,
it's there's a
a
lot of
number.
bricks on both sides, so life could go flying in this matchup.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and both of them have like fairly aggressive options to effectively rush in, even if it's just as at board in Kobe's case. So it's gonna be a bit scary to go down to wildlife for both of them. I guess bar some giants.
Yes, that's it's always the way. Ooh, Hina out is quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna let us play on curve and Reaper. Okay, so that's our euros free to swing now. Although we do have a blocker in case things get a bit funny, but we're definitely going to be seeing at least a 6 and a 7 swing, if not more. 2 6s and a Zoro Euro would be nice as well. Yeah.
I think the question will be if he actually starts swinging with the Zorodura here. It always feels quite scary turning board sideways against Kobe, knowing that they can just rush into anything you play or swing
Yeah,
with, rather.
yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's 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 kind of a bit better if you don't, I guess. So if you don't have to build more board, I'm not mad at just going maybe like an 8k or 9k directly in this spot and just pressuring a bit more. See whether we take the blocker or even a 7, I suppose.
And his,
Okay, easy
I
2k.
would be curious what his plan with those other 3 are here. Could be a 7 and a chopper, or
I wouldn't be mad at that, actually.
I'd quite like that actually.
It's, I guess, the only question mark on that kind of play is that I might not ramp with Chopper just to be sure that we get to cycle Sanji Puddings if we have more, because we've just effectively done -1 now, right? So if we were to play the Chopper and actually ramp, we are
But
back on even, and that
if
means
the
more.
next one's played off of Luffy, that could alleviate that.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it comes down to what you have in hand.
And I feel against a deck like Kobe, which does like to attack the board a lot, our plays like Luffy
Yeah.
are very strong.
Yeah.
Play more than they can remove is always a lovely tactic.
Yeah, specifically with one of the bodies being actually quite big, and even the other one, right? If you are able to find a Sanji Pudding, like an 8 and a 7 are not easy to remove for Kobe. Like, you can get rid of one of them by like dolling or Hibariing, but both of them are going to be a lot more trouble, even if you go through an actual Kobe. Secret, I mean. So
Yeah,
let's see. Where do we want to go from here? We we are on the 7th and 10 for Kobe, right?
yeah.
Mm, we have a Peacock to buff a bit. We can kind of happily swing at that Zoro. And there's Elmepo getting rid of Hibari. Yeah. And bringing Hibari in. That's gonna minus the Sanji Pudding, I'd assume, and then swing into the Zoro to let leader swing into Sanji Pudding.
That is quite a bit. Going to be quite nice pressure on the board.
Yeah, it's definitely very good. And it also buffs, Hibari buffs herself, right? So it's gonna be swinging 7 into 6, which means we need a 2k. It's not unreasonable, but taxing is always nice. And then you get to swing with Helmepo for a 7 or even an 8. BJ use that Peacock or that Hina. Plenty of ways to buff things now.
Yeah, the GP list is only on 8 2Ks, so any amount of taxing is very appreciated, especially when their 2Ks are quite scary cards in their own right. Versace being a great blocker option late game, and the Usohachi being another a really good tool for getting rid of all of the Kobe's pesky little blockers late game as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
getting rid of any 2K is much appreciated.
Yeah, so we did take the blocker there, so I'm guessing we don't have any of those 2Ks easily available, or we want to keep them to protect Sanji Pudding. Okay, now I like using Hina to give it on to leader, like
Yeah,
100%, and just guarantee that we can get rid of this one, or at least we eat away at hand at unreasonable intervals. Okay, and Kujaku can also buff leader, so we can also go through that avenue.
Kujaku cannot buff leader, I don't think.
This is card, I think, or is it character card?
I believe it's character.
I thought so. I'm just reading it. Oh, it's on play the card. Yeah, yeah. Up to one of your characters. Yeah. Then I think I might have used it on El Mepo. Oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah, just put that extra pressure on.
We're in a good spot for CJ. Although, yeah, Owelf did manage to keep that pressure off. Oh, Bremner's on chat. I hadn't seen the message. I'm pretty sure that's from before, but he's probably happy with the Koby situation, even though knows when the real Sanji Pudding game starts. Alright, there we go. 8 done math. Okay, what would you want to be doing in this spot as the GP player?
I think the big play here is a Luffy Taro into Sanji Pudding would generate so much value here.
Yeah.
You'd then be able to restand 4 Don and have a lot of Don going into the board.
Yeah, but we don't have the Luffy Taro, which kind of where I was going with the previous chopper ramping. I feel like if we didn't have Luffy Taro or
Yeah, but it's a surprise that they chose to chop ramp if they didn't have it. Although it does mean they've got an extra Don to maybe take down the amount of threats on the Kobe board.
yeah, it's always positive to be able to swing. Specifically, that Hina, I really don't like. I want to get rid of that board if I
I
can.
will just sit there and generate value.
But I guess in this scenario, if we don't have the Luffy Taro and we're looking for power plays, I think I might value the card draw over the extra don.
That's true. I guess it depends what he's got in his hand. Like if he has a green Zoro, which he is posturing up for Don there, a green Zoro with extra Don to swing into the board and get rid of that. Well, rest the blocker and then be able to pressure those characters would
Yeah.
be nice.
hmm Okay. I guess we're going 7 life, possibly.
It is always scary swinging with that Sanji Pudding
hmm
because that will become
Prime
a
target.
big target. Oh, choosing to go into face.
I think it's just for not giving free Choke value, right? Going 7 at face rather than 7 at Hina.
Or it could potentially be um, that he doesn't actually have too many plays in his hand and is just wanting to try and set up a crazy lethal with Hody Jones.
Mm-hmm. I don't dislike this if we don't swing with Sanji Pudding either. Like, I would have loved it a lot more if I got the 7. And now we are effectively just
It's a 6 cost Luffy.
calling for lethal. Oh, okay.
He gets the blocker,
Fair enough.
which is quite nice. Getting rid of a trump blocker just as you've added 6 cost Luffy into hand.
That's definitely going to be a lot more terrifying next turn. Although the Sanji Pudding train is probably going to take a small pot. Oh, Bremner's saying that GP is actually a bad matchup.
Uh,
Huh. I guess it might be down to the pressure. Secret Luffy can really punish you. And GP is good at replacing the cards it plays, right? It's
6 cost leader poking at you, or
Mhm.
actually, well, GP is very good at swinging a lot of like random 7s with the amount of Don they have, which could shut down Koby quite a lot.
Yeah. Okay. That's a nice 9 into 7. Have we managed to find the 2K here? Are we going to giant?
Oh, it is quite an early giant, but
Yeah.
this could, if he doesn't have much counter, this could draw into a counter to defend it for the rest of the turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Kobe gaming, I think. That might be a full on 10 into that Sanji pudding now. Oh no, it's
Never held my bow.
not a Mepo. Into cook. Into brand new. Do we have a Kobe in trash already? I
I
bet.
don't think I saw a Kobe, unless I missed the Kobe.
No. I haven't seen it like being purposely put there yet, but it's possible. Yeah, there we go. It's possible one of the early searchers with I'm gonna be a Navy Admiral
Yeah,
uh, picked it up. I guess that makes 6 leader into 6 leader if we want to. Ooh, and there is a second Hibari as well. Okay, we have enough resources on trash to make things work.
definitely a lot of options there. The Hibari on play could be quite nice into getting rid of those Sanji puddings. And that's what they're going for.
Oh,
However, I do feel this poses a question of does 6 cost Luffy against one left Kobe pose a big threat next turn?
I do believe that to be the case because we do have pretty much infinite 7 swings when doing that. Yeah, I absolutely like letting this go. Helmepo cannot swing into anything now. We only got leader and Hina to be going, and we are we were searching for that Reaper, and we're definitely playing that.
I was wondering if it would even be a double ripper or a. If they are on the one off 2 cost blocker as well.
Oh, actually, it's not a different Hibari. It's the Hibari from previous turn because we did play the Reaper over her last turn. Okay, fix that life. Hmm. 6 cards in hand. 5.
And
Okay.
that is certainly the 6 on aside for the Luffy there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'd get, if they lead a powered after the Luffy, they'd have freedom back. That'd be 5 done up with 2 7Ks and double 6Ks on board, which is quite a scary force.
Yeah, and you basically get to go either 77788, which is an
And
insane
it looks
amount.
like they are going to lock in that play.
Yeah, I do not blame him for it.
I guess it depends what he has in his hand. If you've got like a decent amount of giant and counter in hand, you could maybe delay this a turn extra. Oh,
Okay, we start with that.
we
And
are we
obviously,
are using the Luffy effect, so it looks like we are committing.
I mean, not necessarily,
Not
right? I
this.
feel like that life is fine and this puts enough pressure. Like if we just restand 3 down, put 1 down in either Zoro or leader, and just go 6 7 7 7 next and leave 2 down up, we're probably fairly safe. I kind of like maybe going 7 with Zoro or Sanji put in first before committing to this because now we are giving Weki counter, quote unquote, for free.
That is true.
A bit of doubt from CJ. And we end up just giving 2k, 1k.
So,
Maybe one more
oh,
7. Ooh.
does he have? There is that counter here.
I don't think that can be 2k, 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 1k, right?
Very unlikely, especially because he's got a 2K on board as well.
Huh. I mean, it is possible, but I think
Everything's possible here.
I think you kind of need to go for lethal now.
Yeah, he does have quite a big hand size, and if that's not giant with that hand size, it could be quite. You could still survive that as GP.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We need to connect 2 of the swings. So, like, if you were to just even split the dons, good news is that Hina doesn't let you touch an already attached don, right? So,
However, that you are running 2
well,
dragons.
that was 1 2k. Okay, it is entirely possible that we had the additional 2k there. We ran the count on bricks, but we didn't run the count on 2Ks, right?
Let's have a quick look.
2,
So
6, 10, 12. 12 is a good number, but still.
more than what I thought Koby would run.
Hmm. It's a bit of a shame because I feel like if we did keep that done up for, like if we started swinging with Zoro and Pudding on the same sequencing, we could have math with Rush Luffy.
Yeah, I feel like going bigger on the Rush Luffy here would have
Yeah.
been much better.
Yeah, because we could have gone 7 7 7, right? And that means they take 1, they give you 2 cards, they give you 2 cards.
I guess he was always sort of had in mind this play of not overcommitting. it's definitely where I feel like swinging with the Sanji putting 7K leader first would have been a very good indication of the hand, rather than just going straight into the Luffy.
Yeah. It might be about sequencing as well. Like this is one of the first games we are getting from Owelf on this, so he probably doesn't have quite figured out Dawn management to the extent we'd expect him to. So that might have been the reasoning why like just play this, guarantee that I can Dawn minus the rest of Dawn. But it was definitely scary. Okay. We have 2K, 1K, we just give it, right? Oh, we giants. Okay, it's fair enough.
Yeah. Does feel quite an early giant,
Yeah, he might be a bit bricked.
but I think the main worry here would be, it doesn't look like it from how its posturing is done, is if the dragon is in hand.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the dragon would allow you to get the rested Don for healer as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's efficient on. So that's gonna be another 8. Okay, 1K this time. Are we on Dragon Gaming? Not looking at. Nope.
It's looking like a split.
That's gonna be a 9 and a 10.
Just hope that GGG is not there, but it is.
And it is. Do we have one more K counter? Uh,
Gum Gum Gaming.
do we have one more K counter? We do. Okay.
Oh,
2K.
flexing with a 2.
Yeah. And that's game. Even though we only have 3 done. Um, 7. Was 2K, 1K. So, like, he could have survived less
But
than probably.
it depends. I guess it depends which order they drew the cards in.
Oh my god.
That would be curious to find out.
Yeah, I'm genuinely very, very curious over there. Chat, do we know? Will have he survived? Oh my, that's so basically it came down to either he had the dragon. Sorry, no, he didn't have dragon. So he had the Sengoku in hand, or he had the Aramaki. Wow, that amount of 2Ks is kind of filthy. Not a big fan.
Certainly, if Owelf had in his hand from the start of that turn double Gum Gum Giant, then he was very safe there. Maybe could have still done better with the baiting out the sequencing of attacks, but
Yeah, I'm thinking a bit about it. I feel like if the first 7 is taken and you end up with like all 2Ks and a 1K in hand, even with the 8s, you can afford to like counter, block, counter, and you should
if
be fine if you can hold out the blocker till the end.
if that first 7 is taken, then it, you'd have 5 Don after you've played the Luffy to then buff up leader and Zoro to 7Ks. You'd then be able to do a double 8, or it may even be actually more efficient to boost the Luffy up to 9K and swing a 6 7.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Double 9Ks into zero life is pretty devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically just go 2 6s counter. I don't know. I feel like you cannot math that situation out, but I'll do some proper mapping later. It's interesting.
In
And
fact, you
was
could even call the bluff and go 6-6, 10-10, and just as Jack said in chat, he already had 6 2Ks in trash at that point.
yeah. No, I feel like you have the likely chances with that, right? But well, with double giants, I guess comes down to whether they have dragon or not on that final card in hand. And from the perspective of um, Kobe, I feel like that lethal was all right. Maybe the only quote unquote difference is we could have poked 6 with Hina and then or 6 with leader and then just split more evenly on a couple of tens rather than a couple of eights, which could
Yeah,
have forced a bit more counter off of.
poking is generally good against GGG. However, that GP hand size was just huge.
Mhm.
Still,
Yeah, it was.
chances of there being a 1K in the hand was still pretty good.
Yeah, although we didn't give one until the second swing, right? Let's or Euro after the giant, so it's possible we only had 2Ks and we had to waste 2K, quote unquote. I don't think there was probably a way, but maybe the best way is to start a 6 with Hina and then 3 done on leader 8 or 5 done on leader 2 2. Uh, so you can even start a 7 if you want to poke for a 2K, I guess. But I do kind of like going 3 10s if we can. Oh no, we cannot do. We cannot go 3 10s. Okay, no, then the math is all right. 8 8 9 10 is good enough. Okay, back to gaming.
But
Could you-
having a look at the GP build, there is only 11 1Ks in there.
It's very tricky. How many bricks are we running? That's
Sorry,
10.
13. I cannot count.
10 plus 10 events plus 10. 25? 20. Ooh, 28 bricks?
And certainly, those tech
Yeah.
slots do cost you those counter cards.
Mhm. Yeah, you can definitely get overloaded by this. Okay, so we start with double searcher for Kobe. It's kind of fun that both of these decks have a lot of searcher consistency, so we should be not seeing non games, which is definitely what we want to be doing here. And now we're seeing Kobe on second, which should be a bit more powerful from their end.
Yeah, they do have a lot of even cost cards. How map on curve is a very strong play.
Mm-hmm. And for the turn, ideally we want to see a Hina again to keep piling up the pressure. It's kind of fun that it's basically taken over the Kusen spot because we don't need to generate that much trash. Some of it is great, but you don't need the same wild amounts as we started with. And since we started
Does
with a searcher,
does seem
go.
like they do. If you have the Hina here, you would always play it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the rise a tiny bit too late, so we just brand new and fill up trash.
Well,
Kobe is already there, so we shouldn't be having trouble identifying that a bit later.
nope. We are now just digging what I'd assume to be for the Helmet post to utilize that Kobe.
What is? Oh, that's Rocinante. Okay. I'm like, what card is that? I've not seen
Yeah,
that before. I was
it's
clicking a bit.
the uh,
Blocker Rosinante.
it's got this stamp on it. I can't remember which stamp it is. I
Yeah,
think it's one of the championship stamps. But, oh, we are going to go for the doll. Actually,
it's good. We were talking about it before the game, right? That's one of the easy ways to guarantee a bot is just removed
that's
altogether. So
a very nice response to a Sanji pudding.
yeah, I also think we've seen 2Ks being dropped already, at least one on this dragon. I think maybe another one. No, it was Hina and Kobe, so we should be good. Okay, there we go. Sanji putting gaming, and we got Frankie to recover them as well. Go poke.
Which is always scary when they have a way of recovering that Don on the odd curve.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't allow for Luffy to our on curve.
They're just checking that it's the same amount of done. It's such a shame that this doesn't allow you to run Frankie in your favorite leader. It's it's a disgrace. You need a straw hat leader now.
I will never forgive Bandai for printing EBO 2 with two extremely powerful Water 7 cards in 3 cost Frankie and 6 cost Luffy, and locking one to only Straw Hats, and locking the other to multicolored leader,
Yeah.
thus omitting our ever so glorious Water 7 leader Iceberg.
Yeah,
Which is crazy because both of the cards
I'm
feel
very
like they
into it.
are designed to be in his leader.
Yeah, they're very water 70 cuts. Like they do definitely.
Recovering Don and giving a rush to a leader which can't attack.
Hmm. I'm feeling a
Ooh,
bit bad for CJ here because it's the
this
second
is
time he's finding the key
this
piece
is
one turn late.
looking quite scary actually, having to play this amount of searches and not seeing the pieces.
Mm, no. Okay. I'm thinking, as wild as this could be, maybe an Aramaki into Dole is
That's
one of
kind
your
of what
best
I
plays.
was thinking as well, because if that Sanji pudding is allowed to stay on an empty board, it is going to generate way too much value. But it looks like there's no dollar Maki this turn. It's just going to take out the Frankie. We could see a Hina if they've drawn into it now.
We did drop one out previous
Yeah,
turn. Okay.
there
Yeah,
we go. We've set up the Hina.
that's fair enough, but we're gonna have to give some hand resources now. Like, I don't think we can afford to take.
No, you, going down to one life here is going to be very scary of the potential threat of 6 cost Luffy. Because even if they choose not to, if they choose to expand board here, there's still going to be some nasty swings coming into that Koby.
Yeah, and our board is kind of nothing. Like we do have that Hina, but that's about it.
That is literally it. Almost.
Ooh,
Oh,
that
there it is.
we just draw from it, and now we no longer do.
Oh, this is painful.
This is proper gaming.
Or Don back.
Yep. I like this might be somewhat crazy, but I don't dislike going 8-9 here if we want to, but it's okay to go 7 as well. Like we have enough life that we don't have to worry about the clapback that much.
Unless it's a 7-7 and play Chopper if they have it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. or 7-8 chopper is cool too. I kind of like 8 with okay.
The forcing down to zero life here looks very tempting.
I think I would go for it. And hear me out. Just because if either I go for it or I don't swing with Sanji Pudding.
I
Because
would agree with you there. Um,
even if we find a chopper now and we're able to play it, like that
oh,
Sanji Pudding is gonna die.
that's a double 2K we got off of that 7K swing.
Hmm. Yeah, we did
I
see that before, right? The 5 swing from the previous turn was a 2K, so I think like
Yeah,
even numbers are gonna be. Yeah.
it does seem like he's got. There's the chopper. It does seem like he's got a hand entirely consistent of 2Ks plus Helmeppo right now.
Hmm. We do know there is that Helmepo. What was the other card we searched for? Brand new, previous turn that we ended up
Yes.
playing. And what did brand new find?
The brand who found the Helmeppo.
No, I think Peacock the turn after found the Helmepo, right? Because we paid 1 on
Yeah.
our 6th on turn. So I think we have information about that
Oh,
one, but I
did it?
don't remember it.
Was it the wasn't Ante which we were discussing? No, it added the doll. It added the doll.
Oh, true. That's the other card we know. So we know
Yes.
there's a doll that we didn't let go.
Um, the doll would give us a blocker here as well as helping remove that Sanji pudding.
Yeah, the problem is we don't have enough
Uh,
done to doll plus Helmepo. So I think best case scenario with doll plus Hibari, making
we
the
do have a
standing.
lot of doll. Well, we do have a lot of counter power plus we could use for this Kujaku army here.
That's a 7 Hina. Maybe going Hibari now, swinging into the rested one. Oh, Reaper. Yeah.
Oh,
So one don't counter chopper. All right.
Prince got Ross. Well, this does disable the chopper.
I'm about to.
It
Um.
is a 2K out of hand. Um,
Yeah. And
However,
oh,
the good thing is, with that chopper not being able to kill itself, GP may not be able to
protect the
use
standing
leader
body.
power next turn
Mm.
unless they play like a 6 cost Luffy over the chopper, so then they can still use leader power.
Yeah, but we need
Actually, we'd
this
lose the Sanji
Sanji
pudding.
pudding
So.
to survive. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily, right? Like now we're just gonna see a 7K and a 9K. So if we have 2K, 1K, 1K, we're kind of
They
rolling
could
with
use
that.
the double Kujaku on field as well, just to
Oh, true.
ensure it's.
Yeah, 2 9s.
And I feel like in this situation, you have to ensure that Sanji pudding dies.
Yeah, and we already have one in there, so that's 7. Hina ability 2 and 8. Yeah, peacock number 2 2 9. Yeah,
Yep.
gonna be
And they
10
are
into the standing one.
just gonna let that go.
Okay. Yeah, this is why I liked getting them to.
Oh, getting both Sanji puddings here is very nice.
Mhm. We take this one. We could
Yeah. You've,
get a Reaper. That is a Reaper. Okay, there we go.
well, this was actually a huge turn for Koby.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely was a very good turn.
I certainly did not see. I certainly envisioned one of the Sanji puddings dying. Getting both is pretty big.
Fairly massive. And I think this is kind of why I liked swinging with it at life. Like, if we're on the same spot without the chopper, them at 0 life, now there's a lot of pressure there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And chopper now is stopping us from doing our game plan. So now we kind of need to go for board and see where we land with
I
it.
certainly can't blame anyone for not realizing Prince Gross is a crazy little card ran in Kobe.
Yeah. No, I feel like playing around Reaper wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I think I would have done it more instinctively on pressure dynamics, to force to play a bit more defensive, I suppose. But it's still alright. Okay, we are doing that.
We are going to play a rush here. Right. Luffy could use its rush. Luffy could use it both here just because of how much life we're on. I feel that they're probably, as long as they've got at least one gum giant active, they're very safe.
Yeah. Problem is we got a 6k leader now, so I'm not.
It does make it more awkward.
Yeah, we're poking a 1k. This time we do
No.
get the doll. Seven k at lead. 8k. Yeah. Nami.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
So now it's knowledge giant. On the bright side, Kobe's hand size is stable. Although taking that 7 is a bit more terrifying, but we might have run out of 2Ks now.
Uh, only 6 cards, and oh, you see how easily a 6 cost Luffy eats through cards. Especially now that we do have this chopper back to protecting it again.
That's not a good sign.
That is never a good sign. Digging for
Oh my god.
your final piece on most likely the final turn of the game.
And we're gonna keep digging, which means
Oh,
it's not in the question now. We get rid of 2 copies. And this is looking complicated. Um, we don't have the doll anymore, so we cannot like easily get rid of the board either. Maybe a Hibari play would be where we want to be.
even a Hibari here is going to be tough. You may be able to get the Luffy, which would be the priority, but it's just whether they have like another blocker to even stabilize with. Uh, even then, blockers are not safe against GP. Uso Hachis, Green Zoros. We've got that one off Hody lurking somewhere in that pile of cards there.
Mm-hmm. And we're on 10 down as well, so like even splitting with the Namis is somewhat terrifying when you're at 0.
Yeah.
It's a shame because we don't seem able to capitalize on the play from last turn. That definitely disrupted Owelf's rhythm quite a lot. But we'll see. Got over 30 people on stream as well. So thanks everyone for watching. We always appreciate it. We know it's going to be a somewhat long stream today. So um, we are here for the long run and stick around as long as you can. And if you have to go, you have to go. We appreciate every view. Okay.
Hibari. Reducing the Luffy Taro is a
Take.
interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. I think we might be hoping for like full on brick, but that's
But yeah,
doubtful.
especially when you know there's at least one giant in there.
Mm-hmm. 6 at 6. And we'll give the Zoro. It's gonna be 7 at 6. Oh, it's gonna be 8 at 6 with Hibari. And that's kind of effectively forcing the chopper block. Making
It could be a Gungam giant in response as well, but that we are going to leave the chopper.
I'm not sure I like putting the extra on there just because due to making your Koby able to swing into chopper, it might be better used to buff one of the on-mappers later. Because
Yeah,
that chopper is blocking
so,
anyways. And
so it's
now
always good to be flexible with those extra vested dons.
yeah, I'm not mad at this. Or 7 at the 6. Oh, at the 7. Let that go.
Okay. I mean, he could have another one in hand here. Very possibly.
I think he didn't put his own up yet. They might be talking about it, but he was definitely on 9 the previous turn. Yeah. So after Giant, we stick to 9. We have the Hyusahachi. Oh,
Ah, and there it is.
Mr. Jones.
If only he had Cody Jones.
If only. So that's 5 and that's 9. And that's game. Ooh, Dragon was there though.
It was.
So maybe.
I guess that was an option to try and clear board.
Yeah, no, not this turn, but I do like Owelf playing a bit conservative on defense the previous turn, right? Because it would have been somewhat easy to actually use the Rush Luffy ability and put extra pressure.
When he's got that much health, that much extra resources than your opponent, you can just afford to play it completely safe. There's no point risking.
Yeah.
I do think I would have liked to see V pushing down to 0 life on that one turn.
I think that's about it. Just because, specifically, if we have the Hody on board, right? Like, getting them down to 0 is GG.
I'm assuming he would have had at least one of option of Luffy or Hody in his hand at that point.